7-5. They don't want to be taking this all the way to 12 rounds. They need to come out and just dominate NIP here and just try and break the spirit a little bit.
God damn. Whew, Oregon. All right. You know, we've left IB for Tim. We've boarded ourselves a nice flight all the way over to the US of A, and we're going to be coming in with some banging gameplay here on Oregon. FaZe Clan, you got to step up now or forever hold your peace in the series. If you concede this map, you concede the major. You give the crown to NIP, and they will come away as the best in Brazil off the back of stage 1 of the BR6 at the 6th major here for LATAM Tim. It's all to play for. It's all on the line. NIP on defense to start off with as well. Could we have even scripted this one to be better for them?
What a set of bans we've got there. Thatcher, Ying, Clash, and Jaeger. Now, Ying, we've seen used sort of sparingly throughout LATAM so far, but sometimes very effectively. And she has been one of the operators that has been picked up here reasonably regularly, if anywhere, on Oregon. So no huge surprise to see Ying taken off the board, but Jaeger will go as well. So we are certainly going to have some interesting rounds ahead of us because without, Wamai is going to be 100% pick rate now without Jaeger on the board. But obviously, I've said this before, and we never really see teams that play as aggressively as I'd like to see without Jaeger on the board. And the reason that I say that is obviously Wamai is very limited at the beginning of the round as to how much impact he can have on throwable utility. He's only got, I think, 3 of the magnets within by the end of the prep phase. He can have them out there or, into the early action phase. So that's only 3 throwables, where by contrast, with the 3 ADSs, you can have 6 throwables taken out from the very beginning of the round. So it's half as effective. So if you were to rush site at that point, if you were to just get in there and really rain through those utilities, get the frag grenades in there, you could find a massive advantage for yourself. And we've never really seen anybody play with that style against the Jaeger ban yet. So I, for one, I'd love to see it.
Oh, mate, it would be spicy. It'd be cut from a different cloth than what we're used to. And you know what? I'd really be invested in hoping maybe we get some signs of that going down throughout this map. A map that could potentially be the end of the storyline for FaZe Clan in the major. And that is a very, very big deal. As this major is wildly important in the grand scheme of things, especially just in the tournament circuit as well, when we look further forward off the back of it, of coming into side if you want to get yourself some of those qualification points. And live, he's taken a point straight to the face, a pointed bullet, a hollow tip to knock him down to the ground. He's been revived and tries to skedaddle his way out of there. He'll run between with his tail between his legs, Tim, and at least be able to rappel up the building to stay alive. But it's a lot of damage done early on. It won't be a frag, but it is quite a big tag that could haunt FaZe later on into the opening round here on Oregon.
Pino, once again, just that early aggression in rounds. We've seen it throughout the season. He was, I think, leading on entry. 42 and 24 he went through the regular season, plus 18 overall. Absolutely unbelievable at powering his team into rounds with kills. And he very nearly does it again there with the shots onto live. But right now, the pressure is mounting from FaZe Clan onto those rear stage stairs. We can see the Monty starting to move down. Now, he does have the shotgun of Kamikaze right in his face, which is also going to mean the Toxic Babe canisters will be there as well. So the Monty can be pushed back if Yuna gets a bit excitable and tries to push too far forward. We can see Astro's just looking to apply some air jabs as well there, I think, just to cut down on any potential flanks. We don't have anybody that is out on the roam at the minute for NIP. They are all in sight. They're going to be playing this as a turtle defense, and with 1 minute 15 left to go, there's a lot of pressure yet to be absorbed for these defenders.
A lot of pressure on the round as a whole, and especially on the map. And there is a fair amount of pressure also just on Muzi specifically to try and defend towards this angle, supported at least with a triple threat of defenders lying in wait and just sitting pretty for the push to come in. That's the scary factor, Tim, because we're late into the round. FaZe doing their best NIP impression with the way they're playing it, is they're going to be going in for a last-minute execution. We've seen 2 of the smoke cans go out, I believe. We don't have any Wamai magnets remaining right now as well, so they are going to be a bit of a hindrance when push comes to shove, unless they hit their shots, especially when Oryx is able to reposition like this. Maybe this will be the first time we'll actually see him dash into a shield and go for something crazy, or instead he'll just use his firepower and go for the swing like a metronome. They come in from either side with the left and right hooks, hitting FaZe and dropping them down into 3 players alive. All of them taking some heavy hits though, but the Nomad finds the flick Tim. A beautiful response there with a rifle, and she runs rampant, switches to the pistol but can't punish Pino, as Pino will pick up the round for NIP. Denies it for FaZe. No opener, although it was very close.
Astro just seemed to be one step ahead of everybody there, didn't he? He moved into that default plant spot inside of storage, and they were just completely unaware that he was there, and every time the comms went out, they were looking to challenge somewhere else. As Pino moved to challenge that spot, Astro was already bursting out of the double door into the corridor, gets himself a kill there, ultimately brought down by, I think it was the Vigil in the laundry site, but it was touch and go. Astro just seemed to be here with the start of it there. You can just see completely unaware of the man, comes out, gets Pino, and then moves in looking for a third as well. He was just always half a second to a second ahead of that round. He was almost playing in the future.
God, I'm talking of the future, Tim. For me, this whole day has felt more like the past. It feels like we're just reliving the series from yesterday. It feels like we're in the best of 3 once again. Even the clutches, even the flicks, just the shots in general that have been coming out from the monster that is Muzi, have almost felt like we're just trapped in some kind of Groundhog Day and we're reliving the same series, because NIP, they're literally going for the same plays, just on different maps, and it's working for them. It is madness how cinematic this has looked. You could make a frag movie based off of this team's tournament run, and I swear it would do very well. 5 stars on IMDb.
As we've said coming into it, they've just hit form at the right time, Jackie, and that's what it's all about. You know, Team Liquid had such a strong mid-season, for example. They were just absolutely unbeatable, but then they just took those couple of difficult results at the end there, and you think maybe that's impacted on them coming into the major, and they've just not carried that same momentum that we saw from them throughout the season, whereas NIP, slow burners all the way through, getting draw after draw. We kept questioning whether they were even going to end up making it to the major, Jackie. They were in 4th place for so long, and then right there in the last couple of weeks, big results, big shots coming out onto Ion there from Pino. He's getting cheeky now on the entry. He's just looking for that aggression, looking to get right up in the face of the attackers there, just not letting them settle into the round at all, and you can see the impact that it has there. Ion, he's now just extra cautious, and it wastes time, lots of precious time.
Keeping those time vials dropping down bit by bit, grain of sand by grain of sand, to run this game down to the bare minimum. Leave it on the wire. But I'm absolutely living for the confidence that is coming through from NIP. At least they're still being able to go for these ridiculous plays. They've clearly drunken another bottle of that liquid Elo, and it's left them fueled up going into this firefight here on Oregon. For FaZe, can they have a gulp? Can they have a bottle of their own and come back through, or will they just be bottling another round here, Tim, and conceding a second already on Oregon?
Yuna getting well established in Attic with the Montagne now. Unusual use of the Monta here on Dorms. Usually we would see them pushing up through Armory Corridor and into that Trophy and Master area to try and gain information and also protect a potential plant going down. But this time around they have gone for Attic and right now find themselves with a bit of a problem. Forced deeper into the Attic room there. There is a goo mine in the leg of Yuna that is just eating health away from him. There was nothing he could do. He couldn't drop the shield because he was being challenged. Babe canisters used perfectly there by Kamikaze, but loses his life just before he gets the kill. We find ourselves 4 versus 4, but a huge tool at the disposal of FaZe in that portable shield has been taken out, and the diffuser right now is not in hand either.
This is worrying. A lot of points here leading to this potentially being a round for NIP, a second on the board. The rise of the automatons as the drones will roll in and start relaying information back over to FaZe, but it's not about the info anymore. That's not the commodity you need. The commodity you want is to get the diffuser down and find frags, be able to up the body count and drop their numbers down. Talking of which, diffuser goes down, 40 seconds on the clock, and it will start to tick by. 4 versus 4. Sustainability is the big question mark for FaZe, though, as 2 of them are low. Both Ion and Mav. They have to play off angles effectively and hit their shots once the push comes across. Ion, he'll go for the swing, but Astro will hit the shot quicker as Muzi's been overthrown and massacred. There's a follow-up as well onto Julio that's going to be down in the dumps. Pino's the only one that turns up to the party, but can he pop his way towards the top? A 1 versus 2 to clutch it out, cleans up, switches to the Deagle, but no dominance coming through from the sidearm as he'll be sacked in the face by Live and left dead as a doorknob on the deck.
Astro gone huge there in the post plant, getting a double for FaZe and just really helping to tick by 30 seconds of that diffuser timer and just leave NIP with little room and little time to make any impact on round number 2. Great plays from FaZe. They recovered well after losing unit on the Montagna, still managing to collect that diffuser and get it down on the ground and activated as well. So great play from them.
And this was the opening kill of the round, of course, back at 1 minute and 10 seconds, effectively. We saw the smoke cans coming through and just killing off the Monty, something that's happened many a times throughout the major. Monty's just getting completely cancelled out by the smokes because there's not much you can do. It's the one real gadget that will just completely overthrow you because you have to sit there and inhale that particle. If you do, it's going to kill you over time, or if you drop your shield to try and reposition, the bullets will do the job even faster.
Round number 3 we come into, and NIP will be trying to hold down dorms once again, and I imagine the method will be fairly similar. They're going to have Muzi with those magnets trying to hold down the attic as best as possible, but I'm not sure how much of an answer they've got to the Monty pushing in. Now, they dealt with it very well last time around by having those Legion goo mines. That's an operator they've chosen not to bring with them this time, so interestingly, it will allow a little bit more free real estate for the Monty potentially, but I think we might see something different come out of FaZe this time. I commented last time around that generally speaking, you will see the Montagna push in through the armory side and try to challenge in towards the trophy in the master area. So I would expect to see that play rather than pushing through attic again. It wasn't overly successful. It was dealt with very well by NIP, and I just feel like FaZe don't get carried away with rinsing and repeating. The attack worked well and you got the diffuser down on the ground, but NIP, they will adapt quickly. There is absolutely no question of that.
They're like a machine learning AI, Tim. The more info you feed them, the more they know how to read you. And reading you like a book is exactly what Pino is going to do, as he will break the back of Astro on the face. The Nomad, more like no way, no chance there for FaZe on the opening pick, Tim.
And that's why I love Valkyrie. She's, you know, there's discussions about how powerful she is an operator, and she is very powerful for that exact reason. That's why we see her banned out quite a lot. But when she works on her own as like a lone ranger like that, just using her own cams, preparing those jump outs, and then bang, out she goes. It's, yes, you can have that information fed to you by a teammate, but there is no substitute for seeing that with your own eyes and knowing exactly where that Nomad is going to be when you go out of that window. And that is exactly what Pino has just benefited from there. And that was beautiful. That was something special to see. I love those kills.
It's because she's just so self-sustainable. A kit just promotes that sort of play where if you're the type of player that really is trusty with your aim and knows that you can hit your shots, you want to pick that Valkyrie and do some disgusting things. And that's what she's done. Opens it up and setting this round up for victory, as immediately NIP have got themselves a 5 versus 4 round from the opening pick. But for FaZe, they're still approaching it with the same slow style of siege. They're not overcommitting, they're not charging straight in, they need to group up and effectively Wolfpack, Ion behind Yuna, take down the other wall so you can go for a 3-pronged attack on your final execution out. But there's still utility left for Nip. Smoke in play, obviously, of Kamikaze Tim. He's going to dash out that can. If you want to try and bypass him, you're not going to have an easy time. still inhale those particles and you will go down. So when push finally comes to shove, everything has to be perfect. Repel your way in, looking like the SAS, and leave them stunned on the ground. First frag is found though from Live for the opening pick on the Kamikaze. Psycho trapped in an awkward spot, trying to make the best of a bad situation, and timing doesn't work out well there for the Thermite. He had his utility in his hands, chucking out the nades who will run in unarmed, and now they've disarmed FaZe, Tim. This should be a second round picked up for Nip, as it's all on one man. Then of course the Nitro coming across. It won't be Julio making good on his promise, but it will be Pino punishing with a C4 from underneath.
Big round from Pino this time, and it is him stepping up on Oregon where it was Muzi on coastline. And Pino, nice little jump out to start things and a nice little nitro to finish them. Perfect double to bookend that round, and that will be another one on the board for NIP. So they go to 2-1 now, and they could be slowly creeping their way towards winning this LATAM major. Let's not forget they are 2 maps to 0 here in a best of 5. They came in with a 1 map advantage coming through the upper bracket, and they managed to get the win on coastline. It was hard fought, 7-5 to NIP, being stretched all the way to 12 rounds, and FaZe mounting a reasonable comeback. I think it was 6-4, it was 5-3 at one point, and they managed to fight their way back into it massively. But right now, NIP, they've just fought hard to claim domes there. That was not an easy one for them. We saw them lose it back in round 2, and it's going to lead them back down to Laundry. And I sort of get the feeling, Jackie, that having lost once in domes won't necessarily be the end of the world for them, because it means they're only going to have to play a tertiary site once. They can go back to Laundry now, then they'll play an off-site if they win here, and then it's back to domes, which is a primary or secondary site generally for most teams. So I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world for them.
No, it's not over. But they do need to get themselves out of the woods, because right now they're deep in the Forbidden Forest and it's not looking good. It's starting to turn to night. Things are looking quite scary, Tim. There's spiders out there and all sorts of shenanigans. So quickly make your move back to Hogwarts, and let's see if this game is going to keep on giving us the magic that is coming out from NIP, because they've been looking like wizards into the opening moments, Tim. In the opening frags, they've been the ones making FaZe Clan disappear, but not with magic and wands, just with firearms and rounds.
It's the centaurs you've got to worry about for me, Jackie. Very unpredictable mythological creature.
You never know. They might get scared. Yeah, they can get a little bit spooked, Tim, and you've got to think how big their hooves are. You take one of those to the back of the head, you won't be getting up.
Oh, sizable. Absolutely no question about it. And very intelligent creatures as well. And right now, NIP, if they can get this round on the board, you sort of start feeling like FaZe might be broken. They might just get run over, as if they might buy a herd of Centaur, as we found Psycho just looking to challenge on. Live will open Julio up to begin with. Pino once again stepping into the breach with a kill onto Yuna, traded out though, and we just see kills raining backwards and forwards here. But always, as always in the war of attrition, NIP just seem to keep themselves level, never overridden, never overtaken. They always seem to keep themselves in these difficult rounds.
The trade game they've been playing, they're very effective at it. They know when they need to swing. They're good on the buddy system. If you get a pick, they will swing back out and they will fight tooth and nail to make sure they trade the frag as quickly as possible. But for Psycho, the man was trying to go on the roam, looking for a backstab. He would have been licking his lips with his Marauders map open. But unfortunately, he's been spotted. Mischief managed so far for FaZe Clan into the round, Tim. But with 1 minute and 15 seconds left, there's still a lot of time for the turmoil to come through on the push towards the stairway.
At this rate, Jackie, FaZe Clan are going to be left wishing they had a time turner in hand so that they could just turn back the clock on this one and try to get themselves something out of this round. They were 3-all, and right now they are 3 versus 1 and struggling. They have got it a lot to do and will only manage one of the 3 there. Live shut down by Kamikaze. Another round on the board for NIP. Let's not get carried away too soon. This is the defensive side. NIP have struggled overall on Oregon, particularly on the attack. Very, very much so in terms of getting that diffuser down or having time for that final execute. We've seen them burn the clock all the way down to that last 10 seconds and then just have to go headlong into those bloodbaths through single doors. And that's not something they can allow to happen this time round on Oregon, but they're doing everything they need to right now. They're giving themselves every advantage advantage possible before they come into that difficult attacking half.
And this is really scary. This is a horrendous spot to be in for FaZe Clan. They need to get more rounds. They need a buffer at minimum. It's not even a matter of ifs and buts. It is a fact that they need to get more here into this game. It's a 3-to-1 split on the rounds. They haven't been able to actually find themselves getting their foot down and sprinting in the right direction. NIP building a gigantic mountain of rounds on their defense. And then, of course, they'll be switched over to their attack. And with the quality of siege we've had coming out from them, the shots that they're hitting, the fact that it feels like everyone on that team is firing at all cylinders, Tim, it's still going to be hard for FaZe. It's not as if it'll get easier just because they're then popped on the defense.
That's the problem at the minute. We've seen Muzi go off on coastline. He's been a little bit quiet here. He's 3-2 so far, but Pino and Psycho particularly both stepping up. 11 kills between the two of them. But you just get that feeling that right now Muzi's probably not going off because he's been playing Wamai. He's been playing in and around site, and Pino and Psycho are going and getting the kills. So, you know, there's only so many to go around, but I can't see that Muzi's going to have calmed down much off the back of that coastline. He's not all of a sudden now going to be coming in here cold. So get him onto the attack, put that ash in his hands potentially. Could be, as you like to say, Jackie, G36, see you later.
Oh man, there's going to be so much coming out into this matchup here into round 5. A lot riding on it for FaZe. Effectively, in my book, this feels like a do-or-die round, and they really do not want to be choosing the latter option. It's not going to be ideal if you get popped into that internal slumber, as we do see them pushing their way through, looking to go up against the slumber party punishers in the ninjas in pajamas, as they sit lurking. Crossfire set up towards the backstage, waiting for the stairway push to come in, and this is giving me flashbacks of what we've seen throughout the regular season, Tim. I am terrified for FaZe when push comes to shove on this encounter, because it's been very awkward for them previously, and I don't see why it would be changing tonight.
There's a mute jammer in behind that mirror window. That is why you will not see those X-Kairos pellets being activated just yet. But certainly a nice way of blocking the line of sight, if nothing else. And I'm sure they will work on clearing that out. You can get the vertical angle from at it. You can see it's just opened up above there. And right now, NIP are fighting a very high line of defense here. They are right up in the faces. And we can see the Thermite. He's just going to pop his charge on there, and mirror window dropped through choice just to burn off some of those X-Kairos, see if they could take the exothermic charge with it. And I think that's exactly what's happened. I think the reaction has come in quickly enough. And what about a reaction from Kamikaze there? Nitro onto live. That leaves us now 5 versus 4. 1 minute 10 left in this round. Julio playing the high line, just right up there at the rear stage. He's waiting to put that Vector to use. He gets a sight. Out goes the Nitro. He did promise, but will not deliver this time. He does down Ion, though. Muzi with a kill onto Unit. Astro trades that one out. 4 versus 2 we find ourselves. NIP, they are pushing hard for this major. They don't want this to go any further than it needs to. Astro, he's just biding his time. He's looking to move in there and pick up his Oppo. He needs to. That gives him at least a 2 versus 4 here. But Ion, he's 1 bullet away from death. And this Vector, we know, can pump out about 1,000 bullets a minute, and it will just rain through the remaining FaZe players if given any opportunity whatsoever. Julio, he's just keeping the old noggin down at the minute, keeping himself behind that table. He doesn't want to see his Cantaloupe popped as they come pushing forward. Pino gets Ion, and the focus now all falls onto Astro. 1 versus 4. Can he do this? He's got to look for anything he can find right now. Pino gives him a helping hand with a Nitro onto Psycho, but it is Julio ultimately the RTA shotgun as he moves through the door. That's going to be the final kill, and NIP go on to 4-1, and things, they are starting to look bleak for FaZe Clan.
Bright-eyed and bushy-tail FaZe Clan side that came into this matchup will now be feeling a little bit glum with the way it's gone. 4 rounds picked up for NIP. They've got themselves a large lead here. 3 rounds towering over FaZe, and Oh man, we've seen them struggle in those areas previously, Tim. When they try and go in towards the backstage area, it just feels like they cannot force whoever plays up close towards the stage out of position. And again, here tonight, it looked a little bit like Hamilton because NIP are not throwing away their shot. They kept it clean on the stage encounter, and they keep the game going in their favor. They've got these 4 rounds, Tim, and if they pick up a couple more, they'll have themselves a 3rd map, and they will win the major. They will be crowned the best in Brazil. That's what they're playing for. That's what's on the line here on Oregon. And if FaZe Clan are coming back through, they need to get a bit more outrageous, start doing something crazy, turn up the tempo, start hitting their shots, and bite back.
Quite an amusing little replay there. You remember the nitro that Julio threw out that downed Ion?
Yeah.
It just seemed a little bit delayed from the Ash, and it wasn't. Essentially, he was just downed on the back of it. But I think because of the speed of the replay, it just looked, you know, like when sort of there's a kick aim somewhere near a footballer, but there's nowhere near them, and then they throw themselves on the ground like a second or two later.
Yeah.
It just looked a lot like that. It was like the nitro went off, and then Ion just sort of hits the deck a few seconds later, like, oh, like as if it was faked. It was brilliant.
Oh man. Well, that's the thing, NIP. They do their own stunts, Tim. No stunt doubles needed into this one. But for FaZe, man, they have been stunted into the game, as it really has not gone well for them whatsoever. You've only got the 1 round so far. Fair play, you're on your attack of Oregon. You know, we've spoke about it throughout the whole of the BR6 season that, yeah, Oregon is a little bit more defender-centric right now. It's the tale of a new map, but if defenders are doing things like this, you're not going to have a good time of it. Pino pushes out, and he is going to be a bit of a punisher as he will massacre Mav immediately to open up the round. But there's a trade. They shoot back through, and they do decimate him. So the Valkyrie won't be gunning for victory here in round 6. She'll have to leave it up to the other 4 dynamic players on NIP, Tim. With 2 minutes left on the clock, will this be a 5th round grabbed with both hands by Nip?
Losing the sledge isn't the end of the world there. The nades can be, of course, very, very useful, but it could have been worse. It could have been live, let's be honest, if you lose your thermite at that point. And you don't always get to pick on a run out who it is that you're going to come head-to-head with. Pino will just take whatever was in front of him, and he'll be quite happy with the sledge, but it could have been worse for FaZe. They do still have a platform. They traded it out with the kill onto the Valkyrie, and they can get themselves back into this, but it's a point I quite often make when the Valkyrie gets killed. Sometimes, Jack, you only really see that as sort of a half of a point. Now, I know when any of these players get killed, they go onto the cams and they feed in information, but the Valkyrie just seems to be more in tune with those cameras. They've got a real intimate knowledge of exactly where those black eyes have been placed. They're going to be straight on. They know what angles that they're hoping to achieve from them. They know what information they're trying to glean, and it just feels like straight away they're going to be really active on those cams. Out goes the nitro there, unsuccessfully this time, but we're going to have a head-to-head here as the peak comes around from the Goyo. He's just going to dip away. The Monty's looking to get in there and aggress with that hip-fire pistol shot, but will not manage to get the kill as Julio shut down, and this is not looking good for FaZe right now. We see Kamikaze flashed and downed as he moves out through the door, but Live is down as well right now. Julio will get Astro and put the diffuser on the ground. A double from him. Psycho with the kill onto Ion in the midst, and that is going to be the round 6 going to NIP. And they are storming through Oregon. This is a performance like we have never seen from NIP before on this map.
And it's a major grand final. And Julio, he's trying to make good in his promise. It was the down that came out with a C4, but it really saved them in the late round. Forced to attempt to go for the revive whilst they're focusing on the other operator that's bleeding out beneath them. The whole round bleeds away, trailing off, leaving them here 5-1. The attacking side of NIP now coming back out. Can they keep up the level of attrition, the level of aggression, Tim, that they've been giving to us the whole way through the major? If they pick up 2 more rounds, that is it. The grand final will be concluded. We will have our champions of LATAM. NIP will win the 6th major. They will get the lion's share of the prize pool. That's 50 big ones. 50 smackers they're going to be walking out of her with that 50 grand in their back pockets, Tim, and the SI qualification points. That is what this is riding on. For FaZe, on the other hand, it's a matter of if you're going to wake up, if you're going to get out of this bad dream, stop sweating and rolling and writhing around in the bedroom, you have to wake up now. Stop hitting snooze on the alarm and come back, show that you mean business, and fight back on your defense.
Yeah, I'd agree, Jackie. I would say that NIP moving on to match point in the next 3 rounds is going to be potentially catastrophic for FaZe. It is just going to leave them with too much to do. Obviously, as long as there is a round left in the game, teams can fight back into it, and we do see that happen. But with the way that NIP are playing right now, that's what we're talking about more than the scoreline. It really is the method by which we have found ourselves at this scoreline. NIP, they are just proving right now that a time and a place to bring your best, and the major grand final and the major semi-final and all along the way, that is the time to do it. Don't worry too much about the regular season. So long as you do what you need to, so long as you get yourself there, if you can turn up and perform on the big stage, that is what matters most. And NIP, they are, I'm not calling it just yet because they haven't won anything, but if this comes through, you can't say that they don't deserve it, Jackie. They've been fantastic so far today.
I've been bombastic the entire way through, Tim. They're looking like the rebels on the server right now, and it is mad how well they have been playing. Each and every one of them stepping up, and I think, honestly, MVP of the major, if they do get the win here, has to go to Muzi. This man, the human Uzi incarnate, has really been slaying from far away. When you throw the clip into his firearm, he decimates and destroys. And in the round, is he going to destroy the hopes and dreams of FaZe? Will he guarantee the overtime safety net for NiP? Will they be able to show up another time tonight here in round 7? Or is there a bit of a comeback to be mounted for FaZe Clan? Info-wise, NIP are already in deep in the streets, Tim. Shenanigans coming through as they're going for the info play. They'll send in the thick lad of Psycho on the Monty. Major Monty himself making a mockery out of FaZe Clan as he'll be relaying all of this information over to the rest of the team, and they'll know exactly where the 5 players for FaZe are.
Anybody wondering about the impact nade that we saw there onto the rear stage stairs, just up at the top of it? That was purely, it was from a defender, and it was basically aimed at clearing out any potential claymore or air jab that was there. It was setting up the potential for a flank later in the round if the push was to come through Laundry or Freezer, but there is not going to be the opportunity for that as we see NIP have got themselves established. They are all over pillars, they are all over bunkers, and right now it feels like they are all over FaZe Clan. The noose is starting to tighten here. It is coming in the ring of fire around FaZe. They are pushing forward. Psycho, he gets himself into that default plant spot. Kamikaze is going to look to get in there and cover. He's putting it down. He's got the turtle shield on his back there and just manages to avoid that nitro. Great play from him. Tries to back in, but just not quite enough. Drops the diffuser instead of going for the plant. He's going to give it another whirl. Muzi is to open things up onto Yuna. 5 versus 4 now. Can Psycho stick this? Yes, he can. This is not going to be easy for FaZe from here. 4 versus 4. We see kills coming backwards and forwards. This one is a nail biter. There is a man down in bunker. There is a second one down. It's all down to Psycho. Shut down. FaZe, they will be able to get in. Get the disable. Triple kill for Astro. He will finish things off on the diffuser as well. That one really looked dangerous for FaZe Clan, but they were able to fight back from the brink.
The jaws of defeat that are looming over FaZe. In one foul swoop, NIP could have been getting themselves that guaranteed OT and look to try and lock the game down and walk away as the winners. Instead, FaZe fight back. They keep them in check. It's one round, but that's what you need. Every journey has to start from that first round when it comes to comebacks like this, Tim. And if they do bring it back, that could open up the opportunity for the reverse sweep to begin for FaZe, because that's what's required of them. They have to reverse sweep, win the grand final, map after map, all the way through to the end to find themselves crowned the champions here in the 6th major. And that is certainly a tall order to ask of this FaZe side. So let's start and keep it in the current position we're in with the present. A second round, 5-2. We go back in. It's their next attempt on their defense. Will it be as successful as the first?
The longest of journeys, Jackie, must always start with a single step, and that is what FaZe have just taken. 1 foot in front of the other is all that they can do right now, but I'm a little bit worried for them given NIP's performance in that last round. They might not have come away with the win, but they established themselves in sight very quickly. It's something we've seen NIP struggle to do here on Oregon previously. They have struggled with the clock, and just getting in there and getting that diffuser down showed progress for them. It showed growth in terms of this map. They got themselves in there and really started to lock it down. And talking about locking it down, they are locking down the votes as well, Jackie. 78% on the poll there, thinking that NIP will take this map.
A lot of love coming out for the Ninjas in Pyjamas, Tim. And I tell you what, they might be in there, Jimmy Jams, if they can pick up another 2 rounders. They'll be putting this game to bed. They'll be tucking in every single one of the FaZe clan team, one by one, popping them into bed, pulling the cover up tight, and reading them a bedtime story. A bedtime story that's titled How NIP Won the 6th Major and were crowned the best in Brazil. You'll be able to find it at all the best bookstores, Tim.
It'll certainly be a nice early night for FaZe Clan if it continues like this. And Astro will open things up onto Kamikaze. Good start on a run out there, showing Pino that he's not the only one who can take advantage of those Valkyrie Black Eye cameras. And he will take the Thermite off the board. So that is an absolute jackpot swing for Astro there, coming in and taking the hard breach. He's going to get Julio as well. That's 2 gone, and little bit of a unforgivable mistake for NIP there. They know that Astro has burst out of that main door. They've got to check to make sure he's not still in that area. Julio was just herring towards those armory stairs there, completely laser focused on only that, and he loses his life along the way. So we find ourselves now 4 versus 3 after the smoke is taken off the board. But this is a round that looks like it's going in the direction of FaZe as Mav steps up and gets a kill onto Psycho. We find ourselves with 1 minute 30 left to go. It's Muzi and Pino that are left. You'd never write them off, Jackie, but this is going to be an enormous task for them.
Oh, a humongous firefight ahead of them if they want to be able to bring it back, and it all comes down to the sole survivor, the Lone Ranger with a big iron on his hip. He's going to be rolling into town to see if he can do some damage, and of course he strikes first and strikes hard onto the opening frag. Swings round the corner though, and unfortunately for him, he's been set up on a date with the coroner off the back of that encounter with Ion. 2 players there. Ion waiting for the initial push at the backup of the Valkyrie as well, so even if he was dropped, there would have been a trade, and it wouldn't have been a madman spray down coming out from Muzi. Instead, it's a 5-3 split now, and it does actually seem like maybe there is more fight left in FaZe here on Oregon, Tim. They're not content with losing on Oregon here in this manner. They want to prove that there is a reason why they're in the grand final, there's a reason why they're in the major, and they're starting to show up.
This is going to be a real testing point for them. This is the point where that steel sword is dunked into the vat of cold water, and we will see if it shatters or if it comes out stronger. Heading into meeting and kitchen for FaZe. It is a tertiary site, and it is generally the site. If any is going to be lost on defense, it will be here. And right now, NIP, they need to recognize that, and they need to get themselves in and take the chance as it is put in front of them, because this could be defining for them, Jackie. They came in here 4-2 at the half. Sorry, 5-1 at the half. So they only need those 2 rounds. So they can allow FaZe to have the successful rotation through Laundry, through Dorms, and then they can beat them in meeting. And they can go through that process again, and they will still come out the victors. So NIP, this is your moment. If you want to take this major title with a real show of dominance, with a real statement, now is the time to do it. Now is the time to come and win this round, lock it down 6-1, and really sort of make a statement now.
Will FaZe Clan's ears be ringing off the back of that statement being made, though? Are they going to scream and shout and let it all out and let out that confidence coming into round 9? Time will tell as we slowly tick by. 2 minutes and 35 still on the clock here. Very early doors into this one. Pino and co. beginning their rappel, climbing their way around, starting to open it up ever so slightly. They have invested in bringing out the Monty once again. Of course, you've also got the Capital, so usability and utility through the roof. There's an awful lot they can do here, and again, this looks more like they want to try and that slower style of approach, which does complement the operators they brought out. They can utilize those asphyxiation arrows into the last few minutes of this one. It's effectively your counter gambit to what FaZe can do with their smoke. You can block off the angles, and talking of being blocked out, the window being opened up, that's going to let in the sunlight, and I thought it might have let in a bullet as well from the back of Pino, but he won't take the pot shot. Tim instead rotates back around to link up with the Monty and set their sights towards the A site.
Nothing on the table for FaZe Clan to deny those X-Kairos pellets opening up the mirror window, and that is exactly what is going to happen. Psycho may well look to move himself across, see if he can get a line of sight into sight from there. We can see he's just keeping himself shielded at the doorway now. Ion can take all the pot shots he wants. They are not going to do any damage whatsoever as they just ring off the shield of Montagna. And right now, the next mirror window looks to be cleared off, but big IQ player coming in from Mav there, just dips around the other side, knows that he's safe to do so, and will just keep that attic area safe. Now, this is an interesting play. We don't tend to see mirror available too often, so we haven't really seen this yet, and it just allows that line of sight down there to prevent that vertical dominance. You can get over the top of the rear stage area in attic, and you can really rain down some pain on to the operators that are trying to hold a high line like Ion here. So that mirror up on the top floor, inside of the trophy room, looking into attic, it's going to be very important here that remains in place.
It's also important that they keep doing what they're doing, where they're baiting out utility and baiting out shots. We've seen the smoke extend out another one of his canisters off the contact that was found from Psycho. Psycho goes in and has to get himself into the corner to stay alive. Shots through as we still Kamikaze dropping down to the ground and eliminating Yuna. Mav as well suffers the same fate. The only response they have is from the doc, and the doc starts to slay, invites them in and picks them to pieces. The scalpel is out and he's making an incision into the round and an incision into FaZe Clan's chance of getting themselves another map here in the grand final, Tim. He's denied the round for NIP. Gigantic play from Ion there. That is magnificent.
Ion went into surgery there, and I don't think his mortality rate was maybe what a doctor would be looking for, but it was exactly what Ion and FaZe needed. Came away with 3 bodies there in the meeting room and completely shut down a push that was looking very promising. At that point, we saw the man count go in the favour of NIP, but into the breach he went, and we will see a few of those kills now from Ion. It was just so important for him to do that. 5-4 now on the board. But as I said, coming into that, it was more about the site than anything else. It was the site that was particularly important. By winning that one out, they now have the rotation of Laundry and Domes, where they've already won. They had to go better than 5-1 on their half in order to win this. They've just won the first 3. If they can repeat that and do it again, win the same 3 sites again, they are going to take Oregon 7-5 and rip it away from the clutches of NIP. But they've got to go to Consular afterwards. And it's going to be tough, Jackie.
And that's what's scary, Tim, because this is just the beginning. This truly is the start of something new for FaZe. If they mount their comeback here, it is one map of many. As I said, it has to be a reverse sweep, a feat that is hard, no matter what matchup it is, no matter if it is a game that doesn't have as much pressure to it as well, because this isn't your standard bracket play, this isn't your standard best of 5, this is a best of 5 major title that's on the line. That means an awful lot to every single one of the players that will be on the server. All 10 of them, Tim, will want this for the bragging rights, for the pride, for the money, for the SI points, for what it means in a game like Siege to say that you have won a 6 major. That means they need to get themselves to that coveted 7 rounds. But into round 10, we have 2 minutes and 25 on the clock as the push starts to come out. Psycho, he'll have the barricade opened up ahead of him. He can walk his way in, but unfortunately, he walks straight onto some Lego. A little goo mine that's going to jab him in the foot. He'll have to back up and pull that out before once again setting his course further forward. Issue is, Tim, there's a plug there on the next one. It's a nightmare, mate.
Oh, they're everywhere, Jackie. They're on every step of the stairs here, and you're coming down in the morning, you just want a cup of coffee, and you're peeling toys out of your feet, Jackie.
Mate, is that from experience, Tim?
Absolutely.
Nightmare. It must be like living in Siege.
It's a heck of an alarm clock.
Oh, I can imagine so. That's why you were so exhilarated into the show tonight, pulling out bits of Lego from the leg. And let's see if FaZe Clan will be able to let themselves go a bit. Go crazy here. Turn up like a tornado and kick NIP into the air. Kick up some fuss, kick up some dirt, and do some damage against them so that they're pushing up daisies. Astro going to make a play with the Nitro. Unfortunately for him, it will get stuck on the doorway and won't cause any disarray to him. 5-4 on the round. 5 versus 5 in the server. Who's going to pick up round 10?
Hitting that Nitro would have been like threading a needle with your eyes closed, trying to get it through that very specific gap between the shield and the door frame there, and just unable. But if nothing else, it did prevent the push. It did prevent Psycho feeding that information back continuously. He had to dip out for a few minutes and come back, but right now we can see that a push is going to come along. Psycho looks to move in, but the kills just rain in. FaZe just behave as if he's not there. Muzik will go in behind him. Mav is in the corridor. Shut down as he moves out of the smoke. A dangerous move for him because he didn't know what he was heading into. Muzik, this is your opportunity to get the diffuser down. Psycho's holding them at bay. That's exactly what he's going to try to do. That is an essential kill from Julio, but we have Ion shutting down Psycho. Muzi steps into the breach and gets the kill. 3 versus 1 now. The diffuser is in hand. It is not activated yet. Ion has been forced back behind that deployable shield. Gets one, but shut down as he does. Great cover coming in from Muzi, and that is going to take NIP onto match point here. Can they get them another? Can they take this R6 major in the first 3 maps?
Man, Muzi is a monster. He's an absolute online-animal. He doesn't need to be on LAN. It doesn't matter if he's on the server, because the only thing that's pinging right now is him when he's flicking the heads to him. Shot after shot. Bludgeons everyone that comes towards him, picks up himself a hat trick, and hats off to NIP with the way they've been playing tonight here in the major. 6-4, 1 round is all that stands before them being crowned the champions, the best and brightest of Brazil, the lords of LATAM. That is what could be coming up, the title they will be getting. Their name etched into the history books of Siege, Tim, if they can find one more round tonight against FaZe Clan and take it 7-4.
Absolutely massive for NIP. Not just coming in and potentially winning the major, but winning it inside of 3 maps of a best of 5 as well. That is absolutely huge for them. And it is just, as I've said, such a statement on the world stage that we are here. It doesn't matter whether it's LAN, it doesn't matter whether it's online, because that was a little bit of the discussion that was going on through that regular season, Jackie. We've had NIP come out and be really strong on LAN and then start to struggle online, and you think, is that how it's gonna be going forward? But no, they are showing that they are more than capable of competing whatever the environment right now. They are on a map that they have consistently struggled with. Let's not forget, Jackie, they were absolutely belted for 7-0 by Team 1 on this very map during the regular season. And right now, they are coming out and they are scrapping like a championship side does. They are scrapping for every inch to pull this over the line.
In the finish line, it's getting closer and closer. The marathon that we thought the best of 5 would be is clearly just turned into a sprint. And NIP, they've got their running shoes on and they are dead set in taking it. They're bolt upright, sat at their PCs, but they are bolting towards that 7th round inside of the server. And that's a way to start it. Julio, man himself, coming out with the opening pick. He might be on the Cali. He might have a sniper with a hell of a scope, but he won't need that to take down a FaZe Clan member or 2. Instead, he'll just switch to his sidearm and disarm Astro, leaving it up to Ion, Live, Mav, and Yuna to try and clutch for FaZe to keep them in the major.
We know that this is a site that can be held with lower numbers than the attacker have. We know that. We've seen it. 5 versus 3, 4 versus 2. We have seen these sites shut down. If you remember, early in the season, Jackie, we saw Ion himself have a great clutch here on this very site. If you remember, it was the kiss to the right, bang to the left, just completely shut down the attack. But can he do it again? Have one of these players got a huge moment like that in them? Or is somebody from NIP, Muzi, Pino, Psycho, Julio, they're the ones that are left. Are they going to come in and have a huge moment here? Are they going to take this one by the scruff of the neck and drag it over the line? Yuna, it will be who leveled things up with that Nitro kill. So we now find ourselves 4 versus 4. 1 minute left to go, and I see a silhouette just drop to the right-hand side there, just suggesting that there's a rotation coming in here. There's a change in plan from NIP, and that just concerns me in terms of the clock, because you're burning a lot of time doing this repositioning like this, and with 45 seconds left to go, they've abandoned the plan, and they are heading now towards the double window and towards dorms.
NIP, no strangers to playing with not much time. They normally go for their last-minute executions with about 25 seconds left, and it feels like that's exactly what we're going to get coming out here tonight. 6-4. We pick our way past 22 seconds, 21. NIP revving, waiting, getting ready to push, getting ready to fight, but when the fists get thrown, it favors FaZe, as we'll see Psycho slain. Pino trades back. Here comes the human Uzi to massacre his way through, takes himself to 12. One final frag is all that's required, and of course he's gonna do it. NIP, they win the major. They concede 1 map the whole way through. 3 days of competition. That's all they drop after fighting through 2 best-of-3s and 1 best-of-5 grand final. They will pick it up. They will be crowned the best in Brazil. The ninjas in pajamas have sent FaZe packing.
Not just ninjas today, Jackie, but winners also coming through with a huge performance, really asserting their dominance over this region there. They were